In this episode of my Let's Play Minecraft series, we're going to be building custom mountains for 24 hours. If you like the sound of that, make sure you subscribe because there's going to be more things like this coming. Let's get into it. Alright guys, welcome back to where we finished the last episode on top of my windmill. And today's episode, we're going to be doing, like I said in the last one, a lot of terraforming. As you can see, this is all going to get somewhat finished today. I want to try and maybe get this connected down and have somewhat of a connection down here, and then I want to see if I can try and fill all these in up there, and then we'll see where we go from there. Oh, I just fell off. Whoops. So that is the plan for this episode, and hopefully this time lapse goes well. I'm hoping it does. I'm going to try. Does this look natural, by the way? I want some feedback on this. I'm not too sure if it looks natural or not. I mean, I've got that, but then I've also got a little bit there as well, so I'm not too sure if it's going to look natural, if that makes sense. Let me know in the comments. And yeah, let's jump straight into the time lapse where I'm going to be doing a good portion of that terraforming and custom terrain behind me, as you can see. Let's go. Alright guys, welcome back from the time lapse, and yeah, between you and me, that was 7 days ago, because I have had my PC upgraded. I've got some new parts in my PC, hence the bigger render distance, and I've had a very, very significant upgrade, and I'm actually going to show you. So I used to run the NVIDIA 1080 GTX, and I used to run the AMD Ryzen 7 1800X. I've now got, if you look at my F3, an AMD Ryzen 9 5900X 12 core. My old one used to be 8. And I've got a new graphics card, the RTX 3070 Ti. So yeah, I can now run higher render distances, frames per second. I can even use shaders if I want. All this was just to improve the videos. And my next purchase is probably going to be getting 2K monitors because, you know, the way YouTube compresses video these days, I'm going to have to up my game and try and get some better quality videos out. Because I know my audio's there, but my video, I wouldn't say is quite there yet. But yeah, that was a mega time lapse, wasn't it? I've still got loads to do. I'm gonna enter another time lapse at some point during this episode to try. So my idea is if I just take a bit of a flyover, so maybe go a little bit higher than what I am now, that's going to wrap all the way around and connect like that. So essentially, my starter area is going to be in the middle, or sorry, at the bottom of all these mountains, and this is going to extend just infinitely, like as far as I can extend it to with the resources that I've got. I've not got much stone left. I've got this and a few boxes in my storage room, and that's all I've got left. Same with the dirt. That's literally all my stone and dirt supply, if I am not mistaken. I don't think I've got anything else. The rest is just cobblestone and stuff like that. I don't know if I showed you guys actually, but there was another farm that I did while I was doing my revision. I can't remember if I said it last episode, but after the episode, I'm pretty sure I said I forgot to mention it. Yeah, wait. All these shulker boxes. I built the farm by ending credits, the exact same one. For those that watch Hermitcraft, Impulse just did it. But I don't think I showed the farm. It's in the outer end islands, so I just figured I'd mention that. So I've got an infinite shulker box supply, essentially. If they're ever going to patch that, I don't know. They might end up going, now that's too OP, but at the same time, we have a big inventory problem, so I don't see the point of trying to patch something that we really need. So, yeah, right. What I'm going to do now, actually, and a shout out to one of you guys, I can't remember the name, for this suggestion over here. So you saw me do this in the time lapse, and basically I had this in mind already, doing this like as a bit of a crater in the ground. I had that in mind, but one of you beat me to extending that idea. You didn't even know I had that idea. And someone said, why don't you make it look like there's a crater in the floor, which was what I already thought of. But then they said, why don't you extend the biomes up and creeping out of the hole? I was like, that's a genius idea. That is actually genius. So shout out to you, my friend. He was commented on my last video. So if you go to my last episode, you will see who commented that. Shout out to that person, because honestly, it's absolutely genius. And yeah, I'm probably going to be doing this segment here now on camera, just because I know a lot of people might get curious as to how I did those custom mountains, because it's not something everyone does, and it's very, I mean, there's only very limited people that will build custom terrain like that. So I will show you my process a little bit if you just give me a second. Okay, so this segment is going to be mainly me talking to you about how I do this and how I go on about planning. So this is what's called a skeleton. This is essentially the outline. So imagine, I don't know if there's any artists that watch me, but imagine if you're drawing something, you'll do the outline first to get a gauge of where you're going, and then you'll do all the filling in and details after, right? So that's essentially what we're doing here. That's exactly the same process, but I don't know if you've noticed, but all my skeletons are essentially in, I said that stood in a skeleton. All my skeletons are essentially diagonal. They're not straight. I'm not going from here to there and there to there, because it doesn't take a natural shape. I did shout out Antler Boy, a good friend of mine now, in the last episode, but I'm going to mention him again because he's been a massive factor in me learning on how to do this and to inspire me greatly to do stuff like this in survival Minecraft. I've never done anything like this before, and to be honest, ever since I started learning, I don't think we're doing too bad, to be honest. I mean, this is far exceeded what I thought I was capable of. But anyway, so essentially what I will do now, and this is something that Antler taught me. So let's get another bit of a skeleton in place, because this isn't enough to fill this in. I'll still need a bit more of a skeleton. So what I will do is, I mean, this obviously comes down to practice, but I will essentially come in here and I will take the bottom of this corner to the top of that one. So I'm just gonna try and engage it, and when you're doing these, when I stop the height of this, I go back and across. So let's stop the height again, back and across, and take this one 3 high, back and across, take this one 2. There is variation you can take with this, and as you can see, I'm already quite deep under that. So I'm gonna retract what I've just done. This is just my process now. This is stuff I've been taught, and I'm gonna from here go a little bit higher. And then I'm going to take it across, go a little bit higher. And now we're starting to get somewhere. What I might do here is I might come across like this because I can always fix that problem down there when I'm doing the filling in later on. Back and across again. And I'm going to come across and then connect it to this corner. So if I go into FreeCam now, you can gauge what I've done. So you've essentially got this small gap here. You'll essentially have a small gap here. And once I've done this side, you'll see that it makes a bit of a crossover and you'll be able to fill in a lot easier. So same process again, just in case you weren't following along with that one. Also, when you're building, try and have it different heights to the one next to it. So I'm going to come across here, and that is the same height as that one. So I'm going to go down and then across and start again. And then essentially I've connected to this one now. So what I can do is jump onto this, make this one higher, and essentially start the process again. And I can essentially connect that to there if I wanted to, even though my target was over there. But now, because I know I've missed my target, I'm going to come in here and then just do a bit more and carry it on as if I have not missed where I was going. Am I directly under dirt here? I am. So let's just connect this down, and then I'll probably do a bit more here. So now we get a bit of a look at this. You'll see that that is a lot more digestible, and you can fill that in so much easier. I can just do this section here, then I can move up to this section, and then that one, and then that little bit, and then this one, and it's filled in. It's really, really easy. I'll actually talk through the filling in process because this is something I learned as well. Is sometimes when you fill it in, you'll have areas that look flat. Let me just fill a part of it in just so you can see the process. Let's do this bit together, right? So I'm going to start filling this in, and I'm going to try and do it at different heights. So I'm going to take, I'm going to take this one a little bit higher. I should probably do this on offhand, but it doesn't matter. Probably go a little bit higher with that, and then same with that, and it's at different, and that's the same height, so I'm going to knock that out. Add one to that, so it's different heights again. And then we'll start the process down here. So I'm going to do the exact same like this. I hope you guys are following along with this, because I am trying to do this as somewhat of a tutorial aspect as well, because I know some people are interested in learning this. Now, okay, I'm going to go a little bit higher with this one, and then a little bit higher. Okay, I'm going to die if I'm not careful. But essentially, you just got to gauge. That's the same height. That's not finished, so let's go and fix... Let's not do that. I'm sort of trying to gauge, like, the heights of these as well. So I'm going to take that too high, and I'm going to take that another one and knock that down one. And then I'm going to bring this out like that. So it's just a bit of experimenting. As you can see, we've almost filled it in already. It doesn't take that long filling it in. It might look like it takes forever, but it honestly doesn't. So I'm going to leave that there because that one's that height. And then we're going to do this bit, and we're probably going to take this back a bit sooner because we're at the bottom, and then take it up a bit more. And essentially, we can just fill that in. And what you will notice is that some of the areas can look flat, as this area does. So I could literally just go, right, one there, two there. You can just play around with it. So I'm now adding a bit of shape to it on top of what it already had. And already, as you can see, that section looks pretty good. And from a distance, if I go in FreeCam, you can see the shape that's taken. And it's very simple. The rule to follow when you're doing this is to obviously not have them the same heights as this. Although that's the same height as that one. So I might take this one a bit higher and then this one higher. But then that one's the same height, so I'm going to do it again and again. And that one's the same height again. And you just keep messing with it like this. And that's all you do. It's very, very straightforward. I feel like I'm turning into a tutorial channel, but at the end of the day, that's the stuff that I've learned. And if you guys want to challenge yourself at doing this sort of stuff like I'm doing now, then go for it. You know exactly how to do it now. One thing I would say is try to picture. This is another thing that Ant the Boy told me. Try to picture what you want and then draw it. That's pretty much how you're going to do it. So I can already picture this going across and up here. So like if I get to this section when I curve around the furnace bit, it'll go up, probably stay at a decent height, and then it will gradually drop to match that. And then I've sketched this section out, and then I can start connecting it. Okay, I'm not going to do it now because I want this to be part of the time lapse. Speaking of time lapses, that was my favorite bit from the one you saw earlier, where I did the lines across. It went so well with the music, that section. That was probably my favorite bit. I really enjoyed that part of the time lapse myself. I had it on repeat for a few times. Don't tell anyone I watch my own time lapses on repeat, okay? But yeah, the idea, just so I can gauge it with you before we start the next time lapse, is it's going to go like this. I'm going to walk the path roughly of where it's going to go. And I'm going to drop it down there as well. And it's going to... This is going to be tall, this bit. And then it's probably going to go this way. We're going to purposely miss the sheep farm because I don't really want to do anything with that. I want to keep it out of sight. And yes, it is very close to... I actually need to do the paths here as well because I actually did a drawing of where I want the paths to go because I do want some paths up. Although I could do that another time if I wanted. And then it'll connect around here. Now my idea for the path, right? So we have a path coming out of these crop fields here. So let's imagine this going like that. And then it will curve up the side of the cliffs, just like that one is, all the way up. But then I might curve it back in to go round. It's probably something I'll have to experiment with during the time lapse. We'll have to figure it out. I do know what I want. But yeah, I think it's time to roll that time lapse that I said about. Also, I can't believe how many hours we've done on this already. It's crazy how far we're into this. I think if I'm not mistaken, if my maths is correct, we're about 13 hours in to this project, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah, let's start the next time lapse, and I hope you enjoy. Alright guys, welcome back. Hopefully you enjoyed that time lapse, and unfortunately, we're now out of time. We've gone over 24 hours building custom terrain in my Let's Play world, and I know that because I've been keeping track. We started at time played 23.59, and if I scroll down now to time played, we're on 24.64. So we've just gone over 24 hours, which is really exciting. And you know what? I've had so much fun doing this. I never expected my world to turn out with custom terrain surrounding it. I had no idea this was going to happen. I just one day decided to do it, and I'm so glad I did. Any feedback on this is greatly appreciated, and I've got some ideas of stuff that I want to build. We might have to move this, though, because it doesn't make sense it pointing over terrain, does it? I mean, we've got to go for some little bit of realism in this world. We might have to move that at a later date, but until then... We'll decide on that another time. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.